All right. So it is Thursday today, and we are on track and doing good with the weekly vlog. So thank you guys for your inspiration to keep this going. I'm already so thankful because this is already a second consecutive day, which I am pretty jazzed about. So thank you guys for the inspiration, for the motivation, for the interest that you expressed in the last post that I made about my limiting beliefs and how I was like holding myself back from doing this. It has been so helpful, pardon me, to like really kind of keep myself going and to get excited. So anyways, day number 2, and this is exciting. And so recap of yesterday. So what happened on Wednesday? I actually had a bit of a rough day on Wednesday. And now, like, looking back to it, I realized that probably, hindsight's 20/20, and I'm trying to like catch myself on it. Probably a lot of it had to do with the fact that I was a little bit rushed in the morning and I wasn't doing my, I didn't do my gratitude and my successes the way that I normally would in the morning. And I think maybe that a little bit, and then we'll talk a little bit later about some limiting beliefs. But at the end of the day, like, my morning was okay. But then I started doing a little bit of budgeting, and I really wanted to be part of the Manifestation Babe Academy. If you're familiar with Catherine Zankina, she's wonderful. She's literally like the beginning. She was like my gateway drug into this community. So I'm pretty big fan of hers. If you haven't noticed yet, slight fangirl. But anyways, so she has this program, and she only opens it once a year now, and it opened, and I was like, great, this is my sign, like, time to sign up. And I literally was visualizing for a couple of days up until yesterday about like how good it was going to be. Like, I was feeling it, how good it was going to feel to be able to say, like, I signed up, I'm joining it. And I'm actually just ending a visibility container that I'm doing with my current life coach, Allison Braun. And literally the lag between the two is like a week. So I was like, that's perfect. One's going to end. I'll have some wrap up time, and the next one's going to start. Everything's in perfect alignment. I got chills, and it was super expansive when I thought about posting and being like, yeah, I'm in this. I was so all over it. And then when I sat down and looked at the budgeting, I definitely could have done it, but it was going to put me into a position where I would have been feeling scarcity. And I didn't feel this, I didn't recognize this feeling at the time, but now, again, looking back, I think what was happening is that I have this story in my mind that it doesn't matter how much money I make, I will always be at like net zero. So like, I will always find a way to spend it. And even though this was a justifiable way in my mind for me to spend it, it was not really a super expansive feeling. Like, I could have made it work, and I was like, yeah, you got to invest in yourself, and it's got to be uncomfortable. And those things I think are true. But in this specific case, I think it was actually just me setting myself up for another, like, I don't want to say failure, but for a repeat of, hi Rhythm, a repeat of my like former patterns, which is, even if it's good things to spend it on, it's just consistently overspending and like not allowing myself to get into a place of actual financial abundance, regardless of the amount of money or the salary that I'm making. And so looking back, I caught myself on that, but at the time, I just felt frustrated because I felt like I should be allowed to have this thing that I wanted, and I really let that tailspin me a little bit, to be honest. And that's another thing that I need to really work on, is like catching myself sooner, because it kind of tailspun me for 4 or 5 hours, which admittedly is an improvement. Normally that would have tailspun me for a couple of days. Actually, normally I would have just freaking bought it anyways, and then would have felt like shit about it every time I made a payment. To be completely honest, like, old version of me would have just said, F it, I'm buying it anyways, would have been proud of myself for investing in myself. But then when it came time to make those extra payments, I would have regretted the decision, especially because the payments would have lasted for 4 months, and the program was only a 4-week program. So I just think I would have been going in it in the wrong headspace, and I realize now that I just wasn't ready. But at the time, I was feeling very frustrated, like, why isn't this working? And I was just very frustrated, and I let that really get to me. And I unfortunately projected that onto my partner and started like a stupid little fight with him over freaking $75, which is so dumb. Luckily, he was very patient with me, and it did not turn into a thing that I would have caused and been definitely apologizing for later. Yeah, we're all learning. So anyways, so he picked me up, and I got home, and I was just thinking, you know, like I got back to his place, because we spent yesterday at his place, and I was just feeling like not super high vibe and really frustrated, and I didn't want to say something stupid or get myself into any trouble. And I have learned that when I'm in that mood, I just need to like shut the mouth, shut the trap, because you will say something that you do not mean, and that is not in alignment with who I want to be as a person, and who I am. Like, that's not in alignment with my best self. I don't want to say things that are hurtful or snappy or intentionally inflammatory. And so I just was like, Kate, I'm just going to step back. I'm going to stay upstairs. I realized I hadn't done my gratitude, so I did a bit of journaling for gratitude, and he was downstairs making dinner, and I just stayed upstairs and kind of separated myself. And I actually took a little bit of just like a quick nap. Really, I was more just thinking, like I closed my eyes and just thought. I don't think I actually fell asleep for like 20 minutes. And when I woke up, what was really cool is what happened is, the best way I could describe it is like an intuitive message from myself. But I woke up and I was just like instantly full of energy, even though I was really only sitting there for 20 minutes. I woke up with instant energy, and I just, all of a sudden I was like, I have to write something down. So I like grabbed my journal, which luckily was right beside me, grabbed my pen, and I just started like just writing. I wrote like 4 pages, and had anyone come into the room at that point, they probably would have thought that I was a little bit manic, because I was just like, it didn't even look like my handwriting, because I was writing it so fast that like I couldn't take time to like form the letters properly. It's almost illegible, but luckily I know what it says. But it was this whole concept of a topic that I could maybe talk to you guys about is the importance of knowing where you are right now, and elaborating on the idea of like, if you have a GPS system, sure, your goal is here, but like how can you align yourself to get there if you don't know where you're starting? And I think there's a lot of fear around people evaluating when you go on this journey. You don't want to think too much about where you are right now, because there's fear of like, oh, where I am right now is terrible, and so if I think too much about where I am right now, then I'm just going to create more of where I am right now, and I don't want that. So they just don't think about it. And I think that that's really backwards. And so this like intuitive message that came through was really like fleshing that idea out. So I'm going to sit on it. I'm going to think on it a little bit more. But if that is something that resonates with you guys, if that's something that you're interested in, let me know in the comments, and I will for sure like meditate on it and spend some more time on that idea, really flesh it out, and then share it with you guys. So that was super, super cool. Definitely like reset my headspace instantly. Like Henry and his roommate even commented on it right away. I came downstairs, we were able to have a really, really nice dinner. And then the other thing that I was thinking, and it's so funny, so I don't know if I've shown you guys yet. If I have, I apologize, you're seeing this again. But I just recently changed my phone screen. I don't know if you can read it. If you can't, it says, this is also from Catherine Zinkina, like I said, #fangirl. But it says, the more fun I have, the more money I make. And so this is interesting, because for the longest time, I was super, super resistant to putting anything other than a regular screensaver on my phone. Like, I've never had a personal picture. I've never had a picture of my friends. It's always just been like a pretty standard background and a pretty standard picture on my phone. And was it this week or maybe last week? Not long ago, like I think it was this week. I think it was like literally Monday. I, for whatever reason, was just feeling inspired to put, Catherine on her website has a bunch of different ones, a bunch of different I am affirmations that you can pick. For whatever reason, this one really spoke to me, and I just felt like the right time. You know how sometimes you get these intuitive nudges and you just are like, whatever, I'm just going to trust it. It just felt like the right time to put that on my phone, and I just stopped caring about what everybody else thought, because my resistance to having anything personal on here ever was that people would see it, because your phone's out all the time, and especially if it was something kind of woo-woo manifestation, it's really important to me to be taken seriously in my career and as a woman, and a fairly young woman, for the level of success that I've achieved. It was really, really important to me to be perceived as somebody that was mature and that was I guess very masculine and you know, very logical. And so it was really important to me that there was nothing super woo-woo or flashy or girly on my phone. And I just released that, and I said, you know what, I'm going to put it on my phone. Why this relates to Wednesday, is because while we were having dinner, I just happened to glance over at my phone, and for whatever reason, it was glowing. Like, you know, if you get a notification, it glows, but I hadn't received a notification. There was nothing on the screen. All it was, I looked over, and all of a sudden, all it was this was just glowing for no reason. I hadn't touched my phone in like half an hour. And I took that as my intuitive nudge for Wednesday part of me that said, it's time to just have a little bit of fun. I think that I've been catching myself through this entire process. I've been really hermiting myself and really pulling myself back from social engagements and from social activities. I've really released a lot of things that I previously identified with, and that'll be a whole other blog post about like the things I released and why and what that meant and what that flow felt like. But suffice to say for today that I've released a lot of things, but that also meant that I really have been spending a lot of time by myself, learning about myself, listening to podcasts, journaling, and this is important and it's completely by choice, and I believe that it's part of my journey. But as somebody who is naturally very, very extroverted, if you know the typical definition or the like standard definition of an extrovert, it isn't that you like being around people, it is that you gain energy from being around people, that the being around people is expansive versus an introvert is where being around people drains energy, and that's why you need recharge time. And so I get energy from being around people. And so one of the side effects is that I have been really trying to learn how to like manage my energy levels and allow them, but also manage them and not let that be a story that controls me, that I have to be around other people in order to feel energetic. But that does mean that I haven't really allowed myself to do anything super fun lately. And, it's just been a while since I just had like a really good, like fun day that was just fun and that wasn't like anything else, no schedule, no vlogging, no pressure, like no cleaning the house, like just fun. And so what I decided to do is transplant my plants. Yep, you heard that right, but it was awesome. So I know you guys have seen this plant here and you've probably seen a few others in the house, but one of the stories I previously told myself was that I had a black thumb, I'm not good at planting. All of those things are 100% true or were true of me, but it is a story I'm attempting to change about myself. And I've been learning how much nature is super important to my headspace, how much I really love having green growing things around me. And so about a month and a half ago, we planted these seeds and they have exploded, you guys. Like they are so big. We pulled them out of the little seed things and put them into like little pots that were biodegradable, thinking that, then those pots would go into the ground. But they've been growing so fast that they're outgrowing the pots, and the pots are for whatever reason starting to get moldy, but they were starting to look really sad and wilty and just like not healthy at all. And that was making me feel sad because they were like my little babies that I was slowly killing out of what felt like neglect. So I took the evening and I transplanted all of them. Henry and I, my partner and I, we ran to Walmart. He actually stole my phone from me a little bit, so we'll throw some clips in there of the Walmart picking up supplies. And then I just spent the evening listening to like some super high vibe music. I've been really loving Kesha's new album. So if you haven't listened to it, go check it out. Woman is really good. And then I can't remember what the other song is, but I'll mention it at some point. I think it's Let It Go, maybe, which is also very relevant to today. But yeah, so just put some super high vibe music on. I just danced and I just like got my hands dirty and I felt infinitely better. So sometimes it's just good to not be so go, so hustle. And that's very much in my personality. And it's a weird balance because I am very aware of the fact that one of my self-sabotaging methods is to start things but not finish them, which is why recording this is very important to me today. And that is just one of those things that whenever I get really, really excited about something, I just convince myself that it's not important anymore, and then I just stop doing it. And that's not my intuition saying, hey, it's time to pivot. That's just my ego head being like, nah, you don't need to do that today. You don't feel like it. I actually do feel like it. I actually am lit up about it, but I'm just quitting too early. And so why was I on this train of thought? Oh my gosh. The wonders of the ADHD brain, guys. Right here, you're witnessing it. I was doing so good. What was my train of thought? We were talking about finishing things. Before that, we were talking about the plants. Oh, yeah. Okay, I got it. Yay, perfect. So, it's important to recognize for me that when I am urged not to do something because it is just not the right time, and when I'm urged to not do something because my brain is having a freaking little breakdown and it's just like, oh, you don't want to do that. And like, it's almost like understanding the higher self versus the brat. So I'm starting, I think, to get a little sense of that. And last night is a perfect example. Like, that was my higher self saying, take a break, don't write anything, don't like do any of that. Just do something fun, go have some fun. We like danced in the kitchen and we were just goofy and we just laughed and it was just so nice. So I'm really, really thankful for that. And then, we woke up this morning, had a really wonderful morning, and I have just been so high vibe and so energetic and so happy ever since. And it was just lovely. Yeah, like how much do you think these are? Because this is very simple. And it's like, it doesn't need to be magnetic. And it's got the wood frame.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's like way nicer than my one that's falling apart.
Mm-hmm. Try doing a little dance. It's not a dance, it's just hopping.
Listen, don't be derogatory to
Can
my
I film it like
dance.
this?
If you want. It's just going to be irritating for people watching it. I love those boots. I wear them all the time, but they're definitely on their last legs.
Yeah, last legs. Get it? Get it?
Shit.
Feet?
I don't get it. Can you explain it to me, please?
Because legs are on feet.
Spell it out for me.
Okay.
Your viewers are going to hate you.
L E
Okay.
S
Uh-huh.
T P
I think you're doing it wrong.
R.
No, there's more than just you. I had 12 views.